So next we're going to look at how we record what we refer to as a chase. So chase is a special effect in lighting that is a sequence of lights moving in stage time with each other and then just repeating that sequence over and over and over until we turn it off. It's often used for a lot of different things in theatre, so lightning or traffic passing by or just general kind of crazy disco lights or something like that. It's relatively simple to do, but just takes a little bit of time and practice to do on the desk. So, when recording the chase, the first part is to get your stages recorded, so your steps recorded. So this is like recording any other cue, but what we need to do is consider what the different steps of our chase are going to be. So in the one that you've just seen, I recorded 4 separate cues that each had a different colour in them. So the first one is blue, then purple, then cyan, and then it moves to a kind of pinky red. So those are the kind of 4 colours that I want to cycle through. So the first thing I do, as we said earlier, as you would anything else, you just record a standard cue. Don't worry about the timings or anything on it, just record what you want that step to look like at each point. So for example, if it was a lightning bolt, you're probably going to have one step which is really bright lights, and then the next step which is probably either a very dim version of that or a blackout with nothing, so that light just flashes. Always remember when recording chases, if you want a flash to nothingness, you need to record the blackout as a step. Otherwise, it will just flash the light on and leave the light on. So it needs somewhere to go to. So once we've got all of those steps, we're then ready for the next section. So the next section, now we've got all of our presets ready, is to create the chase. So how we do that is we go on to the keypad here and we press the sequence button, SEQ button here, and that'll open up our sequence list up here. So the sequence list is, as we looked at it before when we were looking at deleting cues and updating cues, has all of our cues in there, but we can add what are called chases in here. So the chase that we saw earlier, I've already added in there, but we're now going to add in a new one. So all we need to do is use the number pad and the insert button. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the number pad, and we've already got sequence 1 and 2, so we're creating a new one, which will be sequence 3, and then we press the insert here, and then if you look up on the screen, it's then come to create sequence, and then we can just hit modify, and now we have a new sequence sitting here, but it's currently a normal sequence. We don't want a normal sequence, we want it to be a chase. So we just double click on the normal and it will change it to a chase. We also have a text section here, so we can give it a name if we want to. Chase 2, enter. So we just type in the information on the keyboard, press enter or modify, and then that will give that a little name, which you can't really read here, but may be useful elsewhere later on. And then there we've got a chase sequence ready to input our presets into. So we just go to the number, double click, and it'll take us to our sequence information. And then you see here we have no cues in there whatsoever at the moment. So now we just need to remember the numbers of the cues that we recorded. Now a good practice for recording chases is to use numbers that are not going to be anywhere near your normal kind of cue stack. So in a show you may have 200 lighting cues, or you may have 10. But make sure your chase presets are nowhere near that. So I tend to record them in the like 900s or 800s. because then I know I'm probably, hopefully, not going to have more than 800 cues in my show. So I've started these as 800. So what I'm going to do here is type in the number of the preset, 800, and insert. And then that preset 800 is now sitting in my stack here, in my sequence stack. And then the next one was 801, insert, and then 802, insert, and 803, insert. So now I have all of those 4 cues ready to fire. I can change the times in there, and the good thing about the sequence list is if I want all these to be the same time, I can just hit the out button and it highlights the whole column, and say I want these to flash every half a second, 0.5, modify. All of them are now that, and I can then press the in, and because the last thing I put in there was 0.5, I can just hit modify and it will also make those 0.5. Now the big thing to remember about timings on this desk is the Congo doesn't identify 0 as a time. If you put 0, what that does, it resets it to the default time, which we set right at the beginning as 3. So if you wanted it to be a really sharp snap, on whether that be a cue or a sequence or anything or a chase, you would need to put that timing as 0.1. So once that's done, in essence, that's our chase complete. So we'll go into our sequence list, which sits on the top here, and we've now got that chase complete. So now we need to look at how we activate that chase. So there's 2 ways of activating it. 1, we can put it onto the master wing and activate it manually, and 2, we can insert it into cues. So we're going to look at those 2 ways next.